Chanderi or a Maheshwari?
Maheshwari. Chanderi.
Chanderi. Okay. For a second, I was little mistaken because of the border.
No, it's very much a Chanderi border. And Chanderi Saree, yes.
I'm eyeing a shalu, one of the tissues for a later period. I'm definitely eyeing it. The one that Radhika ji has worn.
Okay.
The tissue one, the one that you recreated, I think, in Banaras.
Yes. The particular color we have not done as yet.
Okay.
But we did for this because we were just trying out, and this was a show which we was focusing on revival.
Yes.
And it was certain visions, and we had collaborated with Asif, who did some embroidery on the blouses. So the colors we kept pastel, so we didn't do the deep colors.
Yes. I saw those. I saw the pictures of the exhibition. I wasn't able to see it actually, but I saw a lot of the pictures. It was fabulous. Even your black sari was fabulous.
My God, she's so beautiful.
Yeah, that was also stunning. And of course, the embroidered pieces we couldn't see so closely. But
black sari was a very old sari. It's a very old sari. It's not something we've been able to revive. That was a Paitani sari.
पैठनी आप वही मैं पूछने जा रही थी कि ये जो आपका पैठनी का कॉटन वाला जो कलेक्शन है वो आज के दिन तो वो गोल्ड जरी ही नहीं मिलती है.
ये बहुत पुराना है. This is very old sari.
Yes.
Very old.
And zaris must be all real zari, like
all real
gold.
Yes.
And even now I'm working in real zari only.
Yes.
Whatever we are doing in real zari even now. And so they're able to make it, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But of course, those old saris they only had real sari. There was nothing else then.
Yes.
So there was no question of.
In fact, Radhika ji का एक portrait है जिसमें उन्होंने पैठनी पहना है और सिर्फ पल्ला पूरा टिश्यू का दिख रहा है. And it's a
very old sari.
Self on self, those leaves in the palla.
Sari, easily about 80 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. These are all rare, really rare. That's what one of the questions that I'm very excited, and I hope that you allow me to ask, is that all the reserve collections of textiles and other objects which people have not seen in the museum, and how would you bring it to the public domain in a one-man show kind of collection, exhibition, something which will bring the entire world together to see a collection which we otherwise never get to see. So very excited about today because just very excited. That's it.
We all are excited because when you're with like-minded people, it's always a
good energy. She's the one who understands the textile like anything. Like I have learned a little bit from her and got interested about the textile, but she is the one like grammar book for us.
It's just Radhika ji, I'm from more like a background of, I did my IIM in Ahmedabad and I did my law in Bombay and my BCom in Kolkata. So the textile link, I don't know why or how it came, but history and textile was something that I was supposed to take up, but just jit karke maine nahi liya. And history and civics in class 10, I had got 91, but just the jid of that young, that what my brother is doing, I want to do. Why can't I do it also? So I went into the commerce line, and then life took a full circle and brought me back to where I am today.
Good for us all.
Yes. But it's amazing that what you've studied is what you're using, which is what is amazing. Where your CV that I read, I see that you're using every single thing today in what you're doing.
Yeah, my education has been in this area.
Yes.
That's true.
Your education, your background and work with journalism, your writing, your art, the way you articulate, your presentation, all of it. I even watched the film on that you had presented to FICCI and the commerce bodies, the business bodies. And in that, all the men were in awe. Forget the women, I didn't look at them.
Can I just say namaskar to all of you? And yes. I'm so happy.
Yes, namaskar.
To have the royal family and Jayasri Di and my dear friend Darshan. I'm really honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alka Didi.
Thank you for the invitation of your foundation.
Thank you, sir. I'm so happy. I can't tell you, I'm over the moon. Namaskar, Mataji. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Pleasure for me to be here today also.
Yes, it's an honor for us. Thank you. Over to you, Darshan.
Yeah, we just wait because they told me not to start before 6 because the program says 6 o'clock.
3 minutes. 7 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll just be back.
Yes, sure.
How are you, Jayasri? I saw some beautiful sculptures of yours.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen your sculpture work, earlier. So
Yeah.
it was nice to see.
I have done some sculptures, yes. As long as I take time to paint, like, a lot of detailing in my sculpture. So, but it is not my genre of work, but I did it because it's artist's desire to do something different also. Na? So I'm a painter, but so.
Absolutely.
And I was looking all the paintings and sculptures of Maharaja. It was so nice to watch them, and I was remembering the trip. It was so nice and beautiful.
We had some wonderful times together, isn't it?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
We in China and when we traveled.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
And I think you remember I came to Uttarayan for an art camp, then you invited all the artists and we came.
Yeah.
So I was remembering that time I got to know actually you were doing lots of things with textiles and I was very surprised, and so little things I was thinking. But my questions will be very simple, very simple. The most important and proper questioner is Darshan.
No. It's going to be Jayasri because people are expecting you to be in conversation. So don't put that on me. I'm going to go to Baroda to do my conversations with them.
Darshan is too good. He's superb.
So you're all living in Calcutta? Where are you? Where are you based actually?
He's in Bombay.
In Bombay.
I am in Bombay. I have come to Bombay actually for a few days. I live in Delhi. Paresh is in Delhi. I have come for a little walk to Bombay. But I will go back soon. Also, I'll go to Calcutta because Durga Puja is coming and my mother and my mother-in-law, I need to go and see them. Long time, I haven't seen them. So like they are waiting eagerly when I will come. So I'll go there from here to Calcutta and then go back to Delhi. Paresh will join me like this.
And I will visit them.
How's your uncle?
Uncle Shakti is good. They and Auntie Maity, both of them are in Delhi only. They could not go back this year. Full year they are staying here.
Okay.
Yeah, because generally in winter they stay here until till April and they'll go back to Paris. But this year could not go because March the pandemic started and they could not go. But touchwood, still they are doing well.
Oh, very good. Please convey my regards to them
100%.
both.
They will be so happy.
Them very, very fondly. Tell them that.
Yeah, of course I will. Of course I will. It's it's beautiful looking at both of you. It's it's pleasure.
Yeah.
So Radhika ji, are you traveling? No, not now.
Very much here. I think not traveled since February.
Yeah. So work is going on from home only, and you were.
Yes, work is on from home. No work with the weavers just now.
Yeah.
Because we've not. Usually the weavers have to come here, then we have to show them because they have no designs, and so they have to see the texture of the of the motif and all of that, and so it doesn't happen like this. You have to be face to face. For now, just helping them sell their stock. Instead of taking on new orders, we are really just focusing on whatever stock the weavers have to help them get rid of them, because a lot of the shops have gone back on their orders. So they're stuck with a lot of stock.
Oh, yes. Even could not export, could not sell anything. I know.
That's the problem
And
with
they
all
have,
the artisans.
and they don't have know how to be on social media. So we
हाँ,
created.
but राधिका जी, क्या हुआ है कि हम लोग ने उनके पास 25 साल से हम बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, मैंने उनके पास कमाया है, so it is my social responsibility at this point of time to disinvest and do.
But a lot of like shop emporiums, like sari centers have not they placed orders and they just back, not paid them, not collecting stock. So we're helping them make little catalogs, PDF type, So WhatsApp is sending out. WhatsApp is the most effective way of reaching out.
If you do send us, I have a very huge network.
Okay, absolutely. In fact, if I'd known, I had a lot of trouble making a catalog for a Bankura artisan.
If you send it to me, my graphic
Baluchuri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just send it to me, I have a.
This is not the Bankuras, they were doing bell metal.
Yes, I know. So if you send any of the images to me with details, my graphic designer does it in a day and will send it across to you.
Okay, but I've done it. I'll share it with you. But usme bhi itna problem hua because one day they say this price and the next day they say something else. With artisans it's very difficult.
Yes.
So it's difficult. Even when you want to help, it's a little difficult.
Yeah. So should we log on?
Yeah.
Should we bring in everybody?
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. I think it's time now.
Yeah.
Right.
Start.
Yeah. Namaskar and a very, very warm welcome to our esteemed participants this evening and the audience. Thank you for sparing this time to be with us. My name is Darshan Shah and I will be the Sutradhar for this evening and try my best to weave and tie together the conversations between our honored guests. It is my pleasure and privilege on behalf of the ALKA JALAN Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization promoting performing and non-performing arts, supporting and nurturing creativity, and encouraging holistic growth through their spiritual and motivational programs. So I have taken this pleasure and it's my privilege to be the anchor for this evening. Moving forward, I'd like to introduce our royal guests and my friend, Jayasri, artist par excellence. Born in the royal family of Gwalior, Her Highness Rajmata Shubhangini Raje Gaekwad, a graduate from Lucknow University, was married to late Smt Maharaj Ranjit Singh Ji Gaekwad of Baroda. At present, she is the senator of the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda and holds the position of chancellor since 2015. Rajmata has been very active towards working for welfare of women and their economic independence and empowerment. One of her remarkable intervention has been in the field of textile. Along with Her Highness Maharani Radhika Raje Gaekwad, she worked to revive and then recreate in Banaras the nearly extinct textile collection called the Baroda Shalu, an exquisite pure gold silk tissue textile. Adar Pranam, Rajmata Sahib, and a very warm welcome to you.
Namaskar to you. Pleasure to be here on your website.
Namaskar, thank you. Maharani Radhika Raje Gaekwad, a true royal lady of the 21st century, hails from the royal family of Wankaner state of Gujarat. Presently married to Maharaja Samarjit Singh Ji Gaekwad, history runs deep in her blood and her interest. A history graduate from the prestigious Lady Shri Ram College, she went on to specializing in medieval Indian history from Delhi University. Before marrying the Maharaja of Baroda, she has worked as a journalist for leading magazines. An avid collector of art, she helps in running the Maharaja Fateh Singh Museum Trust, which houses some of the most prized collections of Raja Ravi Verma. He is also a patron of the Heritage Trust, an organization that is instrumental in bringing the monumental complex of Champaner on the World Heritage Sites list. Maharani has also taken interest in textiles and its revival, aiding her mother-in-law, Rajmata Shubhangini Raje Gaekwad, in reviving the lost weaving techniques and designs of Chanderi in Madhya Pradesh and Baroda Shalu in Banaras under the label Shubhangini Raje. A royal welcome to Maharani ji. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Darshan. That was a wonderful introduction, and we are very, very excited to be here. Thank you, ALKA JALAN for the invitation from your foundation. And it's lovely to be in conversation with you both, Jayasri ji and Darshan. Thank you.
Jayasri Burman's trajectory can be traced back to the age-old traditions of the Patachitra. But the inspiration then turns into an unique style that is completely her own. The mythical creatures with their vahanas inhabit a contemporary universe where they must navigate their paths with grace and valor. She is the dutiful daughter, the loving consort, and gentle mother. But alongside all of this, she is the all-powerful goddess in her own right. A very, very warm welcome, Jayasri, my very dear friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and pranam Rajmata ji and Radhika ji. It's wonderful.
With your permission, Rajmata ji and Maharani ji, may I start the conversations? Start the questions. Yes, thank you. There is this sudden renewed interest and query in everybody to do with the royal family of Baroda, from the academic scholars to the practitioners to the business forums to even cultural organizations and design magazines and many more such forums. What do you attribute this sudden interest and search to?
I think people suddenly are interested in royalty in general. To know after 70 years of independence, why does it matter that people from the royal family still matter in their own homes or in their own cities? Why people, the common man, still has a sort of emotional attachment to them? Royalty actually doesn't exist anymore. We are in a democratic country, and we are normal citizens like everybody else. Neither do we carry titles or anything like that. However, it is only thanks to the people and their support that they have given families like ours. We have been really blessed by getting the support of the citizens of Baroda and the old erstwhile state of Baroda, which extended in many parts of Gujarat. So they have still, somehow they have faith in us that we are there with them in times of need, one can say, or when there are problems, or when the thing, it's not that we are carrying authority. However, we've always had a close association with the people no matter what. And I think that एक विश्वास जैसे बना है, और उसकी वजह से people think that yes, we are happy that they are there and we can go to them for all sorts of problems. I have the honor of even being the Chancellor of the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, because I hold that very prestigious post. So I'm also involved with education in a very direct and different way. Of course, it is something which I have taken on now. But even at this age, the fact that I can interact with academicians, with young students, that gives a real connect, I think, to the youth as well as to the people of Baroda. So I think, and of course, maybe it's the social media which helps in some way these days. We've never been aware of all this much before, but maybe people are talking more, talking closer more, because connecting better because of the social media. And that probably has created an interest in families like us.
Thank you. Radhika ji, would you like to add?
Radhika, would you like to add something?
Just adding to what my mother-in-law said, that 70 years, the narrative has not been in our hands. The narrative has been in the hands of politicians or the media, and history has been narrated in the way they have wanted it to be narrated or how it suited them. Today, with social media, there is a direct contact one has with the people. We are able to put our story out there. Then it is, of course, up to the people of our country to believe, not believe, or accept or reject what we have to say for our legacy or history. And I think that the response that we have got from the people of our country, even the younger generation who are not even aware, were not even born in those times, are not have not studied in the history books the contributions of the royal families. They are embracing and want to know their history, and that is very heartwarming, because after being redundant for so many years, it just feels that there's a validation, because in our own small way, we have been continuing the traditions and practices which our families have been doing for generations in a very small way, but definitely not an ineffective way. And we have only received love and respect from the people. So that connection is there, whatever, people may want to say how the media or politics is played, but that connection between the people and royal families is there still.
Yes. That's the reason I feel that even the titles, though you are saying they're not valid, I still feel from the heart when you say something and you mean something. I think that is validating the fact that you do have not only history, legacy, heritage, and all of it, but you have in your heart the warmth and the respect for what you can see virtually, physically, actually. So I think from whatever I've read in recent times, it's reiterated my interest in the royal families and what our real heritage was and what it continues to be. So thank you very much for answering that in such a lovely manner. And Jayasri is very excited to come into the conversation. So I'll have her come in, because otherwise she's not going to be out of the chair. So Jayasri, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dash. Shubhangini ji, Radhika ji, namaste. But I must say, I'm very happy to see you both together. And I'm just feeling that both of you have come out from Ravi Verma's painting. You are so beautiful, elegant, and royal. Still, it is so beautiful, I cannot tell you. It's my honest opinion. So I'm very happy, and thank you very much to, I got a chance to speak to you. And I thank you, ALKA JALAN Foundations, ALKA ji, it's wonderful. Thank you so much. So I will not take much time. I just wrote down, because I'm not so good at asking questions. So one thing I remember, you, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, were with us in China trip. And it was a wonderful trip, and I saw both of you all the time together, and with all the artists. You were really, it was an example for me that time, like, how humble both of you are. And I could remember one day Maharaja was sketching, and I still remember, and he was sketching very realistic drawing. So I was very impressed and looking at him. So I'll be very happy that if we could see some works of him on the screen. I think everybody will enjoy that, and that will be a biggest treat to us. So is that possible to just see the painting and sculptures and installation done by him in London? So I think Rudronil has to show that. Is that?
Yes, you can continue. Rudronil can keep going forward.
Yeah. So that is because, and I have a question, Shubhangini ji, to you, because you are the Ardhangini of Maharaja. So I have a very strong feeling that you must have something very creative, like you hidingly doing some writing or something very special you did not share with anybody. So I hope you can share with us. We will be very happy to know that.
My creative, I was, of course, I had with a husband who was an artist and a passionate in music, classical music. So I had it all there. But yes, my creativeness actually came when I started making the Chanderi Sarees. So that was my way of expressing myself and, coming out with something. So when I started creating those sarees, which were something which I enjoyed thoroughly, I thoroughly enjoyed that more than taking credit for reviving. All that was part of it. But main thing is that I myself really enjoyed what I was doing. And that was in a way my expression of creativeness also. So yeah. I can say that.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That is very good. So even though you came from a royal family and married into one, where did you command so much humility from, which I was talking about just now? In China, we have seen how humble and how, you were really, really watching you both. It was like a lesson to us. So.
No, it was not, it's something that I don't know, because even as a child, when I grew up, my parents were always so much with people doing things for others. Never felt anything that, yes, you felt privilege that you had, but that privilege was to be used for helping somebody. That was the lesson always imbibed in us. And when I got married, I must say the Baroda royal family, I think, would be the most humble royal family in the country.
Educated.
Absolutely. Right?
Art lovers.
And, not at all, have any airs about anything, right? My mother-in-law herself, who has seen different days and who has lived really like a royal Maharani who had lived. Rajmata, Shanta Devi Baisab, my brother-in-law, elder brother-in-law, Maharaja Fateh Singh Rao Gaekwad, all these people who had lived a totally different life. Even my husband, his whole childhood experience was totally different to what life was out for us later. But that didn't make them feel, I think they just adjusted well. It didn't make them feel at all proud. All my sister-in-laws, the whole family, in fact, was brought up like a very normal family. And the idea was that...
Also, I think in a gharana
that helped a lot. And we didn't really, that actually helped us adjust no matter where. We were so comfortable on that China trip which you're talking about. And I in fact enjoyed all you artists there.
Yeah.
I think I was the only single non-art person there. But I was happy because as a historian I was taking down my notes. But I think it just came to us naturally, and my children also, fortunately, nobody has any airs about themselves, and they've grown up in a very normal way. So I'm thankful for that.
So there were a lot of colonial influence which reflected in a flamboyant lifestyle. When I went through the historical photographs I have seen. But yet you have been maintaining your tradition. How did you do it? You maintain your tradition so beautifully. But I have seen the pictures earlier. There's a lot of flamboyant style, colonial style, but
oh yes, of course.
So
our family
maintain the tradition.
No, I mean, especially the women of the family were extremely sophisticated. They had the facility to travel with the Maharaja, with the royal family, traveled as a family, even when they went to Europe. That's before pre-independence, even after independence. They traveled, unlike so many other Maharajas who traveled on their own. But the women of Baroda were always, along with the consort, they were always also going out. So they had a lot of exposure to the Western society.
Yeah.
That was, but at the end of the day, when they were back in Baroda, the traditions were maintained. The certain traditional activities which were conducted for festivals, for pujas, all that was still maintained. And even in the difficult times, we never stopped doing that, even when things became quite difficult in later years. And but certain things we continued in spite of all the problems, and it was given to me as a legacy, and I continued doing those things. So I think that was how it happened.
Fantastic. And so I remember, so when a lot of artists, we came for an art camp in Uttarayan, Rakesh Agarwal organized, and you invited us for a dinner. And I was so excited. I met Radhika ji that time, and I was looking at her, my God, what a beauty. But I still remember when we were coming out, you gave me a beautiful Chanderi dupatta. And I got to know then only you really help the crafts and weavers. So my question is, being a queen, how were you able to reach out to the local community of artisans?
Well, I was, since childhood, I was always interested in textiles and fabric and the type of material that one. And I had the fortune to see my mother and others wearing beautiful Chanderi sarees, because being in Madhya Pradesh, Chanderi was, of course, it's in the heart of Madhya Pradesh. Chanderi is a very beautiful heritage town in central India. And Gwalior was well connected to go to Chanderi. So I had seen beautiful Chanderi sarees, everyone wearing them. And then fortunately, when I got married, then there was a lot of that even in the Baroda royal family, because it was especially the Maratha rulers that patronized the Chanderi fabric. So Chanderi sarees. So I saw a lot of that. And so I had sort of a love for the material, love for the sheer material of Chanderi, because Chanderi, what we knew it, was absolutely sheer and comfortable and draped well. We could carry ourselves well, and especially in this hot weather of central India and in Baroda and western India and central India. Chanderi was an ideal fabric to wear.
It has got a beautiful texture and shine like silk.
It was silk, and it was a very delicate sheer material, which was so comfortable for wearing too. So I got, and then later I thought somehow when we wanted to get new Chanderis, they were not making anything what we could wear, because they'd come out with a very different texture, like the katan texture, which one couldn't drape well at all. So in fact, we stopped wearing Chanderi sarees at all, completely. And it was something that I was missing. And it was during actually my elder daughter's wedding when I thought, oh my God, I must get some nice Chanderis for her and new ones, tissues made. So that took me and my parents, with even my father was excited enough for that. And we drove to Chanderi as the place. So that's when I made contact and saw Chanderi, because now after that I made 2 visits to that beautiful small heritage town, and learned about the weavers, saw what they were doing. And fortunately, if you commission them, I realized they made fabulous sarees and they could do what you wanted them to do, you know, in real zari tissues and things like that, which they were used to doing. But they had just stopped because there was just no market for it and it was too expensive. So, but when you wanted them to do that, they made lovely sarees for my daughter's wedding. And so that's how it all started. So when we realized that as a family, we can, you know, get them. But it was much, much later that I thought of really going all out and making sarees, not just for the family, but at people at large. And that was, I think, a bit of it, I should say, was inspiration which I got from our Ravi Verma collection.
Yes, yes.
I give credit to that. Because when we had the Ravi Verma centenary celebration, and the NGMA had our gallery, NGMA had taken our full collection of Ravi Verma to Mumbai at that time. It was wonderful to see them at the Jahangir, not at the Jahangir, at the National Gallery of Modern Art in Mumbai. They have a beautiful gallery with huge big walls. So, and then that struck me that most of our the portraits and the mythological characters seemed to be wearing Chanderi material and the saris.
Yes.
So that was what inspired me. The first Lakshmi, Saraswati, they were all in the Chanderi saris. So that's how my first collection of Chanderis was inspired by Raja Ravi Verma. And we had a very nice exhibition in combination with Satyapal. They had a fashion show also of that. And we put our saris. And that's how it started, actually.
Fantastic.
These were some of the
Very
portrait paintings which inspired us to make some inspiration I took for the color, some for the design, some for just that. But that's how the first time I sort of forayed into this weaving and making Chanderi sarees was in connection with our Ravi Verma collection. That's how it started.
Extremely good. The weavers are very lucky that they got guidance from you, and it's Ravi Verma's all the designs and zaris and the style. It's fantastic. But I have a little questions. Have you ever tried or seen or wear this Bengal Tangail Bengal cottons? Because in summer it's very comfortable, but it doesn't have the shine like the Chanderi has, but it is a very low key kind. But the malmal, the textile is very good and very nice. Have you ever?
I use a lot of Bengali cotton sarees, and I enjoy wearing them. But
good to know that. Good to know that. As I'm Bengali,
I'm always in handloom sarees of all different. And the summer sarees, Bengali sarees, are extremely comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Because the texture is more important for me now than just the comfort is as important as anything. So they're definitely, so I use a lot of them. Oh. And I like wearing them. Thank you.
So nice, so nice. So one more question. Do you feel Indian textile habit in them to make it globally popular, or if they change or customize the shape and forms of the cuts of the thing with the textile? What is your opinion about it?
I think there's a great potential for that, and definitely they can be compared to any textiles in the world. I think we actually should be leading in that. Yeah. Because we have such beautiful material and textiles from all different parts of our country. Every part of India specializes in some wonderful textile. Yes. And that has got different uses. Some could be used for as garments, for making stitched garments, or some could be used even for home use, for furnishing, soft furnishings, and things like that. So there's a great potential, and I think the Western designers are conscious of that now than they were before. So they are sort of looking for beautiful silks that we are producing, because they don't have anything as nice as that.
Nice. And our kalamkari design, our floral design, our all miniature, they are like,
and our motifs are so beautiful. The motifs, the different motifs of the birds, of the flowers, and all that. That's all great interest in the Western. I think it's up to the designers, or maybe the Indian designers, to give some ideas. I can't, because I'm not designing Western wear or clothes, but I'm sure it can be adapted for that. Yes. But I had an experience with some German friends and Austrian friends who always came and picked up sari from me. And I asked her, I said, what are you going to do with these heavy Chanderi saris? She said, you don't know what I am going to do with them, but they are fabulous, and I am going to do something which you will, only when you come there, I have not been able to see. But they were taking the pastel colors, and she said, I have so much ideas that I can use them. So she always took some saris, and she had them in her home to do something with it. So I'm sure there is a potential for it, definitely.
Wonderful and lovely talking to you. Shubhangini ji, it's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
My pleasure. I'm really honored.
Jayashree, I'll just come in here and make just one point, coming from the textile world, that yes, you know, we do lack one thing, which I feel is that we don't have enough really high level or top of the line reserve collections and museum textiles and heritage textiles being shown actually in the public domain, so that the actual weavers, the people who are at the grassroots, who actually make these, they can come and see it, and they're given that opportunity, because it becomes like a page 3 event. At the end of the day, you don't really see that a weaver from Fulia or Shantipur or Murshidabad or Bakura comes to a Baluchari exhibition and is able to do much with it unless we bring them, because even with social media and other things, they haven't been able to bridge that gap. So I think as entrepreneurs, it is our responsibility, social responsibility, to change the way in which we educate them and we allow them to touch, to feel, and to experience, to photograph, and to keep the, you know, count the threads, look under the eyeglass. So when I went to Bangladesh, I carried 300 counts yarn, 300 counts of fine muslin, and I got them to understand, because I carried back a sari of mine, which was a undivided Bengal jamdani, and I sat there, then I left it with them. I had the trust and the belief that they will look after it better than anybody else, or they will not have an eye, because they didn't know the value today. And you will not believe it, the reproduction that has come out. I had goosebumps the day I saw that sari. So it's up to us also, like you are showing your saris to the Chanderi weavers and your Shalu saris to the Banaras weavers. If there were more people to actually inspire them and just not keep them behind lock and key, I think it's going to be a different world of heritage textiles, which India really is been the person for the last 2000 years, the country that has clothed the world. And today there is an exhibition which is inaugurated at the Royal Ontario Museum, which is by this name. So I'd like all the audiences who are here, we are 333 people here, and to go onto the website and to see how India clothed the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over to Jayashree.
So now I come to Radhika ji. Namaste. And I have a similar questions. First, I must say, I would love to paint you. You are so beautiful. I have seen the portrait.
You said that, that's the biggest honor for me, Jayashree.
Maharaja has done beautiful portrait on you, and I've seen with the Nathini. My God, it's mind-blowing. So Radhika ji, I have the similar questions which I asked Shubhangini ji also, Rajmata. Coming from a royal family, yourself and marrying into one. So how did you the change feel?
So it didn't feel much of a change, Jayashree. Honestly speaking, I grew up, of course, in a very egalitarian upbringing, because my father is an IS officer, now retired, of course. So my upbringing was very, very grounded. He was in a transferable job. We lived in government homes. I traveled by local bus to school. So it was a very grounding growing up for me. Yet we knew that our permanent home was where my grandparents were, which was the palace in Mekani. And that was a different life. So it was a beautiful balance of both those worlds and a lot of exposure. So I'm very grateful that I was able to travel, to visit people and homes which were different from mine, whether it was different IS officers' homes from different parts of the country, or different palaces who were related or friends of our family. So it was a very well-rounded education. So definitely did not grow up in an ivory tower. Then, of course, I went on to study and work as a journalist, which was another kind of an exposure and sense of independence. So, yes, it was coming back and marrying in Gujarat was very, very smooth for me, because the customs and everything was similar. The language was similar. I picked up Marathi. My father-in-law just started talking to me in Marathi, and I was 23 years old. I just started, answering back. I'm sure I was making atrocious mistakes, but both I and my father-in-law kept a straight face. And so, the confidence to start speaking that language came in. the culture of Baroda state is very, very open. I thought, my life will be, I'll be now in a sari or head covered like my mother's was. But because I'm a Rajput, but it was different. Baroda, the Gaekwads are very modern. The women have had always a very, very strong role to play. And I saw that, and I was absolutely, that's when, I realized that how privileged my home is, and where I belong today is. So, I mean, I can't imagine being anywhere else today, because it's, other than the fact that it's royalty and all of that, but just the home that, and how beautifully I've been received in this house. um, it's wonderful.
Great. Great to hear that. So you are involved in reviving textiles, working for our heritage. So how did you do it?
So it began with I was already working with the weavers in Chanderi, and she had already given orders at the time of my sister-in-law's wedding and also my wedding. And when I saw those sarees, I realized they were very different from what I had seen. So even though my father was Madhya Pradesh cadre, and I had seen Chanderi sarees literally all my life, Chanderis and Maheswaris, but yet what I saw here were totally different. And that really was fascinating, because I've always loved textiles, or because having traveled and exposed to so many different regions and textiles, it was that love was there. But I had not been exposed to this level of refined textiles in like Baroda Shalu I'd never heard of. So it was, the kind of documentation which was already there for me to see, and how beautifully they had been preserved by Ai. And she knew the story and history of each, and how she wore them. So there's a lot of respect this family had for those textiles. So I kind of just blended into that.
Yeah.
That background was already set for me to, just merge into.
Yeah.
So I was just very happy to watch I put them, take them out, talk about it, explain the colors, the combinations, how it was. So I've just basically soaked that in over the years.
Yeah.
And my role has been more that I'm wearing it. I'm probably more in the eye because, of how the social media is, or the newspapers, magazines, they see someone younger talking about it. I think it's more attractive. But it basically has come from there. And I'm just very, very happy to be part of that whole exercise where we talk to weavers, meet with them, see the colors, and just, learn and see how it works. So it's
I
been
must
a
say
very,
it's very passionate exercise. Like, it's very beautiful exercise because it's so much colors, textures, weaves, motifs. It is really fun. Yes, it's beautiful. Got to know this. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. So in between tradition and modernity, what we were talking, you have held your role really very well. But tell me, as a young woman, mother, well-traveled, well-read, do you not feel the desire to wear the global brands that has come to, that is very much available in India? So, or has it been a conscious choice?
no, I think maybe if I was younger, maybe in my 20s, I would have wanted to. But I mean, I always see, I'm always happy to see. I love textiles and garments. So I'm always watching what people are wearing at the Oscars or Emmys. I think it's me. But it's not me. I think my upbringing and exposure is very, very Indian. And I'm extremely proud of our own textile and handloom. So given a choice, I would always fall back on that. That's my instinct, I trust. Because that's what I've seen my mother, my grandmother in. And I've always, admired what they look like in Baroda, how my mother-in-law carries her sarees, or the portraits in our family. And not only me, that the kind of, the feedback I always get is, oh, how beautiful, how lovely your mother-in-law looks,
Yes,
how beautiful
yes.
the portrait is of Ravi Varma. So, there's so much of that assurance coming that I don't think I'd be able to carry off anything.
And I
And
think the
honestly,
Indian,
I'll tell you, I feel a lot of people carry brands because they're not sure of themselves or of their own taste. So they will carry a brand because that brand has a value. But I feel that a handloom is a brand value in itself, and we must pride in it. And it's a trickle down effect, Jayashree. I
yeah,
feel that if we wear textiles, then 5 more people will get motivated to wear, and that work will go to the handloom sector. So
Fantastic.
it's, you know, you look beautiful in it, and the bonus is that you are generating work for so many people.
And I think we Indian women, we look very big, beautiful and graceful with the sari. And also we are much more comfortable because our weather is such that we are much more comfortable with the sari and, salwar, whatever our own traditional dress. I think it's very comfortable. Absolutely. I am very much proud of you. I'm really very happy to know that, excited. So I have noticed that one thing, Radhika ji, that in the royal family and whenever I attended, I have seen some pictures and whatever, film maybe dekha. So, lot of abundance of colors like pink, shocking, yellow, orange, beautiful colors. So is there any particular reason that all the maximum time you like to wear the bright colors?
So
What
earlier on, all
is
the
the,
colors were organic. So the colors used to be dark. Aapka madder tha, aapka indigo tha. They were all natural dyes. So they would be kumkum. They would all be bright. Also, your jewelry was such that it would show in a bright color. Your setting was to be of gold, and you know, a traditional setting of jewelry looked good in bright colors. Also, for auspicious occasions, one always wore deeper colors, jewel colors. It was, if you dressed up, it was, you were showing respect to the god or the occasion. So the lighter colors came more with the influence of the European culture.
yeah.
And see, black was worn. This is again, how old is this sari?
This is quite old. I mean, I don't know, but easily it would be 70 years old at least.
So this black sari is also 70 years old, but it was worn. You know, we say कि काला नहीं पहनते हैं, or the other one which you show, which is another
Far more
9 yards.
contemporary than what we wear today. It's far more that the design is so contemporary.
Beautiful. You are so royal family has had many sportsmen, and your father-in-law Maharaj Ranjit Singh Gaekwad was a remarkable artist. While you are doing great around culture, is there anyone in your upcoming generations who is showing similar kind of interest? Somebody maybe is coming up with as an artist, painter, or singer, or dancer, or something. New generations.
Nephew is my elder sister-in-law's son, Ravi Raj. He is very, very creative. It's just a little tragic that, you know, my father passed away. I think by the time we actually saw his creative side, he definitely has it. So he is there. My girls are also creative. They're both good singers, and they are artistic. And Baba always said that they are, and they sing well and they paint well. So it was very tragic that we lost him before he could really, see them develop or help them develop their creative. But both my girls are.
They're still too young, so we can't say that. I mean, what they will develop, but I'm sure they will. And my eldest grandson, which is Raviraj, my elder daughter's son, he has shown a lot. In fact, he started doing a lot of creative work after his grandfather passed away. Spent a lot of time with him. I think he was just imbibing things. And then suddenly after that, he started making and doing sculptures and things like that. And we were just surprised that from where has it come? Because without training, without anything.
But this is the khajana you have now in your bloodstream. That you always appreciate art, culture, in every except like singing or sculptures, painting, and you always helped artists and artisans. So it's
Also, Jashiji, my husband has played Ranji Trophy, and
that's why I was.
Yes, all the men have done at least Ranji Trophy, and cricket was a great love for all the men in our family.
Yeah.
In fact, all the women also, I should say, because even my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, they didn't miss any of the test matches, and we had a lot of them, international teams coming to Baroda also and playing on our ground over the years. So the sports was another very important aspect of our family. So that was a combination was
Very,
arts
very,
and sports.
I know. It's
That was
so, so
a
good.
real combination.
Yeah, yeah.
Husband is taking my girls for golf in the morning.
Fantastic.
But they're also very sporty.
Yeah,
They're really good at sports.
Yeah, they love that.
They represent their school and
All
yes, yes.
times.
That's totally different from me. So I feel very, very happy.
Yeah, I'm just so happy to know that. It's so good to hear that, you know, the children, and they are into so much interest, and something will come out very good and extraordinary. I'm sure of that.
What we can do is just expose them. That's what I've realized. Is just expose them and hopefully some of it will show somewhere.
Yeah, they will pick up their own things. So last question, as a woman leader, Radhika ji, what is your message to our women entrepreneurs who want to revive their culture?
I think it's not that difficult. I think a very small way of doing it is just embracing it yourself. I think before trying to really educate others, I think if we imbibe it ourselves in our lifestyle, it will come. I think consciously, if we decide that 20% of my wardrobe should be handmade, or that I'm going to, you know, look as confident in a handloom sari than in a power suit. It is possible. So it all has to come from within how you want to really do it. And it's a very, it doesn't have to be over ambitious of trying to reach out and help. And yes, of course, that is also required. But a lot of people just give up thinking that what will I do if I, you know, buy one khadi textile or one silk sari. But just don't buy it and keep it in your cupboard. Wear it. And your children will see it, and you'll pass it on to your children's children. These are really a handloom. One must see it as an heirloom. I think we have to start looking at it as that this is a classic. It will never go out of style. You will wear it. Your children will wear it. And if you wear it with pride, just like I learned to wear it with pride because of the family I am in, I see that it is possible and it will come. I did not imagine myself being so proud and comfortable in a sari when I got married and came immediately. So, but you see it and you see how beautiful and with so much pride that people around you wear it, then you imagine. So this has to begin from there.
Yeah, the motivation, and you keep on your culture, and you know, that's like cultivate and you just carry on.
Yeah, I feel also the way that we, you know, we just feel when we look at the newspapers, the media, a strong, liberated woman is always in a suit or in a skirt or a dress. You know, why? We have had enough. You know, Rani of Jhansi fought battles in a sari. So what are we saying? You know, why are we aping the West?
Yeah,
you can be as effective and powerful in your and yet graceful. And why would we not want to be
we
that?
look more graceful with sari, because our body structure is such that we look much more, you know, if we go to the Indian history mythology, then it's always says that Indian sculptures has got that voluptuousness, and that is the symbol of Mother Earth. So we are made like this, and it is really good to hear from you, such a young person. And although you are so much exposed to all sorts of things, but wonderful. It's wonderful experience talking to both of you. Shubhangini ji, it is wonderful meeting you, and Radhika ji, thank you so much for giving me time to
thank all of you for having me here and having both of us here, and
I'm
also
not leaving you.
now. I am giving you both to Darshan will now carry on, and I will hear.
Yeah, so you know, whenever we talk about the Baroda royal family, the first thing that comes to most people's minds is your jewels. And today we can't finish this conversation or make it more holistic without asking you. You know, you have the most fabulous history of the royal jewels. What was the impact on this jewelry design and the ones that you commissioned the jewelry and the acquisitions that you made at a particular time, with reference to Jack Cartier coming to India and to the Baroda family, and Van Cleef and Arpels being commissioned to do so many pieces. How have the jewels changed? How have they evolved? And how have they also continued to stay in the tradition of what they were acquired? So if both of you could tell us about your 5 favorite pieces and a little bit of the story about how the European couturiers jewelers came to Baroda family, and and how did you acquire what you did?
Well, as is already known historically, that it was our ancestor Maharaja Khanderi who was the real passion for jewelry, and it was during his reign that one of the best or the well-known pieces were acquired. And this pearl carpet which you're showing, which is really exquisite because not because it is jewelry, or not because real jewels and pearls have been used, but because it's a beautiful piece of art also. It's been made so beautifully and made in Baroda in those days. So I, commend the craftspeople that were here during the state time, that such a beautiful artistic work could be worked in with pearls and with other precious stones. And so this pearl carpet was made, also commissioned by Maharaja Khanderi at that time, and it was one of the pieces which later went out of the country. But similarly, most of the big important jewelry came into our family that time, and he was very, very fond. And as you will be able to make out from portraits and from our museum pictures and all that, it was actually the men who wore the important jewelry rather than the women. Probably they were in those days in parda and with the sari, it didn't show much, but the men were having much more exposure, and the wealth and the power was also, I think, jewelry went along with that. So it was some of the best pieces of jewelry were acquired at that time. But of course, then his later generation, Maharaja Sayajirao, who was much better known for not just jewelry, but for all the wonderful, it was like the golden period of Baroda, when so much reforms and administration and foresighted work was done for the state of Baroda. It was during his time that the Cartier was invited here during the Delhi Darbar, and he met him and met the Maharani also. They visited Baroda. But as Radhika has spoken earlier also about it, that not much was done. They came and saw the work, and they saw the jewelry. He wanted some pieces to be recast and redesigned by Cartier. But it was really not done, not the big pieces of the shilpage and the crown jewels, as we call. They were really seen, but not designed. Designs were made, but not finally made into jewelry of that. Remained as Indian jewelry pieces. So that happened, but after that, the jewelry was there. Then much more sophisticated jewelry was there. Pearls was a very, very important part of the Baroda family jewelry. Really, the best pearls were here, I think, in every sense. Not only the famous pearls, but even a lot of other pearl jewelry, and from the Basra pearls. So that was there. And women were always understated in whatever they wore. I mean, not really. It was, the value was there, but not so much of show or that way, because the pearls don't always give that impression as the diamond or something. But a lot of pearls, emeralds was another very important and a favorite stone of the Baroda pieces. Yes. Emeralds were another thing, and some of them were designed by the jewelers from abroad during the travels and commissioned. Many of them were done in Mumbai only. So that is I got to see some of the very good jewelry at that time. But of course, things changed, much changed after that. But yes, maybe Radhika has done much more study on it. She could add something. And but everything was well documented. The pearls, whether the jewelry, whether the silver items of the what we had, or even the gold items. There were beautiful gold cannons made in Baroda. No one has ever heard of cannons in gold and silver, carried in very nicely, which we had and we still have. And the gold carriage, which itself is a piece of art, not because it's a carriage, but because it's made so beautifully. And so one thing I must say, that the craftsmanship was so good, even in the Indian craftspeople in Baroda, and whatever was done was of extremely high standard. And that I am happy to say and proud to say, actually, that whatever we had was the work was, craftsmanship was absolutely at, par excellence, one can say that. And that I should say for everything that was made during that time, whether it was jewelry or fabric or textiles or anything else. And that is why I feel sad that we had the ability to make the best in the world, but due to not having patronage in the later years, we lost this beautiful craft and craftspeople who had the ability to make the best. But if they don't get patronage, it would not continue. So it was unfortunate for our country that we lost some of the wonderful craftspeople that we had.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to ask Radhika ji, and thank you Rajmata ji for that, because it's interesting to hear from you about this part of the jewels and the journey, because when Radhika ji presents it, it's in a very different way because she's documented it very well. And I just wanted to ask her that, are you planning to show your reserve collections at any point of time in a public exhibition where we could see what you have in the reserve? Because what's out in the museum is maybe very small percentage of what you really have.
The jewelry, Darshan, is still worn. It is symbolic, it is sentimental, and is still very much part of daily life. So even to talk about it, to do a presentation was a very bold step for us as a family, and I had eye support, otherwise it would not have been possible. How many of us are really going to talk about the jewelry in our tijoris? It's always sensitive, these are not things you really bring out in the open. But yes, because they are of such historic importance, that story is the history is important to share, because they have traveled the world. These jewels have not just been acquired because of the money you had. Many of them came because of conquests at war. Many of them, when I was talking about the emeralds, they were because of war with the Mughals. They were not bought. So this was a lot of that was, there was a lot of pride in those, in your jewelry and stones, not just because you've gone and picked it up with wealth, but you acquired it with skill.
Yes.
So whatever is there with us, yes, some of the pieces we do wish to share and display. Unfortunately, our museum is still small, and security becomes an issue. So we are not able to put everything out on display, like the gold carriage I mentioned, or the silver cannon. There's a silver bullock cart, palanquins, very beautiful pieces. But unfortunately, firstly, the footfalls of tourists are not that much. So we are not able to really create that space. It just doesn't justify it. And honestly, the government support is not there in these things, so we are very much self-run trust. And the tourism is, we have very few footfall, and it just, we are not able to, at this moment, take on the responsibility of putting such precious items.
Yes, yes. We shall wait. We shall wait. And thank you for answering that, because that was really something that was that when would one get to, one sees pictures, but the fact that when you actually standing in front of it, it's a different, completely a different feeling. you know.
It is
So
for me as a student of history. When I see it, what I'm seeing is the history.
yes,
It's not just there is a whole. There is so much history behind it.
yes,
Like what you mentioned of Jacques Cartier coming. This was the first place he came to after the Delhi Darbar because he had very high hopes. Because
yes,
Baroda was known as a state which was open to ideas, to transformation, was very progressive, and the Maharaja was keen because he had seen dynamism in this young boy. He was a young man, Jacques Cartier, when he came. But at that point of time, all the jewelers of the state of Baroda were against it. And there could be many reasons. It was not only that they were insecure or that the commission was going out, but also that a lot of these stones are, like we said, have sentimental value, are auspicious. Certain stones you wear, certain stones you don't wear. Old stones were not cut. They were, old style cut, rose cut, aapka polki tha. So they were worried that if they go to Europe, they'll be recut. They would lose their size and history. So there were many reasons, but yes, they kept in touch. There were many other commissions that happened and exchanges that happened between Cartier and Baroda. Same for all the other big houses. One doesn't really hear about it so much, and one hears more about it later with Van Cleef and Arpels and Harry Winston. But a lot of small and big houses, which were not even perhaps as famous at that point of time, when the orders and permissions were made, but became so later on. So it was not that the family was looking for a brand. They were
yes.
just starting out. Cartier was starting out. It just so happened that they became big names. But the fact is that the family saw the potential in these jewelers or jewelry houses, and that which later went on to make a big name. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. So is a good percentage of the collection in contemporary form with like Van Cleef and Cartier, etc. even today?
Yes, a lot of it is. It
Not.
was, and it was done for different reasons because it was lighter. You
Yes.
see, when the platinum came in, the jewelry became lighter. And because they were traveling abroad, they were global people. It was understood better. The aesthetics were better suited to the people they were meeting. If they are meeting with the Pope or the Queen of England, um, you know, there was a refinement which probably perhaps came wearing jewelry which was lighter, not too heavy, because they didn't want to be on display. It was not an idea of exhibiting their wealth. So with platinum and the European brands, the jewelry was understated. I think that was the whole reason to look at European brands also.
Yeah. So when you do see the royal photographs, you do definitely see what Rajmata said, that the men were very beautifully heavy dressed and the women had a beautiful look in their textile, but their jewelry was more subdued and they were more classic. So that's right. We do notice that.
Right.
And I know that we're coming to the end of the thing, but one final question and a very important question. You know, when you were growing up, there was a different kind of, I wouldn't say patronage, but a royal lineage and laws and protocol, etc. So how has it changed today for your daughters? And how does this legacy of the family continue in a sense of the current way in which the Baroda family plans its legacy?
So Darshan, I think this is a very modern family. My sister-in-laws are both working ladies in their own right. My younger sister-in-law is a psychologist. She's practicing. My sister-in-law is an educationist. And my mother-in-law is chancellor of the university. So they're seeing enough strong, independent working women in the house. So hopefully that is what they will imbibe. They see their father work very hard. So I think those ethics are very important today. I have worked, of course, also. So I would like my children to not just sit back and think that this is for me to inherit, and this is all I need to do for I'll be taken care of. I think that's not the ethics at all in this family, and I think that is very, very strongly what they need to inculcate. Beyond that, they're being given as grounding a growing up as we can, as traditional a growing up as that can. With my mother-in-law, there, hands-on with them. We expose them, we travel with them. So I think they should be able to be discerning for the decisions they make in the future. I think as parents, that's the best we can hope, that they make the right choices in life, and we are just there to back them and support them, and hopefully giving them enough wisdom and exposure that they make those correct choices in life. The way forward is I think if there's no difference between a daughter or a son for us, and there's great respect, like we mentioned, that the Baroda family has always had for the women in the house. So I think it's a very positive way forward.
Yes, it's wonderful to just hear you speaking this. It gives you such a high and it's so inspiring, you know.
Very
I
much.
also have only one daughter, and I've always said that, you know, that it's for them to imbibe, it's for them to learn, it's for them to stand on their feet and understand what their legacy is and value it and take it forward in the way they want to at the time they have to. So I do agree, and thank you so much for enlightening us with that. It's reiterated what one is thinking. So really, thank you very much. And I wanted to ask Surekha if there is any one or two questions from the audience that we could take, or can I say my vote of thanks? Could you tell me, Surekha?
Yes, Darshan, there are a number of questions. So I'm just going to read them out to you, one or two, which I feel are very interesting. And then just one second. Yeah. One minute. There is one from Mr. Raghu Mota from Kolkata. He's saying the chandeliers are super heavy. They had to get elephants on top to ensure that the ceiling could take the weight. Can you please share some details about it?
This is regarding the chandeliers in the
Darbar
Hall of the Gwalior Palace. This is of the Gwalior Palace, not Baroda.
Okay, because someone put it up there.
The Gwalior Palace of the Sindhyas has got beautiful two huge chandeliers, and which is there still in the Darbar Hall there in the Jaivilas Palace. So at that time they had taken, the story goes that they had taken the elephant just to make sure that they can take the weight of the chandeliers, and just that was it. So that story is still there, but this is regarding the Gwalior Palace.
Okay.
So that is there, yes.
The other one is from Shruti Mata. She's saying, do you enjoy draping other art forms too, like the balucharis and the dhakais and the kanjivarams and bandhej, which I think already you had answered earlier.
Yes, definitely. I've enjoyed wearing all types of sarees, whichever I could have from all parts of our country. I mean, all this bandhani, the bandhej, of course, because we have such beautiful bandhej in Kutch, and especially in Rajasthan, of course, they have. But I think the most beautiful bandhej is from Kutch, actually, and from Gujarat. So especially the Gaji Saree with the bandhej was one of my favorites always to wear, and it always looked good because it didn't need to be jari or anything, but yet it looked extremely dressy. So I used to really enjoy wearing that, those bandhej, Gaji bandhej sarees. And of course, from the south, the Kanjivaram and all those, I mean, even from Andhra Pradesh, you have the other sarees, the Odisha sarees. I enjoyed wearing the Odisha sarees also, especially the silk ones and cotton ones too. Because here in winter, you can still continue wearing the thick cottons. Those Odisha cottons are thick. So I used to wear them in winter, especially because they were too thick to wear during the warm season. But in winter, Baroda winter, I would normally still use them, to say that. And sarees from all over, and definitely from Bengal and from other parts. And Banaras, of course, everybody always enjoyed the Banaras sarees. Lucknow ke chicken sarees. Having studied in Lucknow, I really enjoyed getting really good chicken work sarees. And now they're doing it in beautiful material of Chanderi also. So that's nice. So I recently picked up in my last visit to Lucknow, beautiful Chanderi saree with the chicken work on it. Very nice one. So I've enjoyed wearing sarees from all over the country and thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would definitely...
If you could tell us something about the Maratha royals,
The the Maratha family, royal families, which you know are the main families, were of course Gwalior and Baroda and Devas and Dhar, and then Kolhapur. And of course, the one family that we always revere was the Shivaji Maharaja's family, which is the Satara Bhosle family from Satara. Although they were not that well known, but for us Marathas, it was one family that we always revered. And till today, we have a great sentiment for that family. So these were the families. And then right down in the south, in Karnataka, you have the Ghorpade family, royal family of Ghorpade in Sandur. Then in Sawantwadi, because my sister-in-laws, I had 5 sister-in-laws married in all different good Maratha families, royal families. So we've had really good connections with them, family ties, and so that is something that they have their own culture. We have, because we celebrate festivals in a different way to the North Indian and to the Rajasthan families. We do it in a different way. So we have our own special, particular way of doing things. The food is different. The type of food which is enjoyed by the Maratha royal families is different also. And so there is a particular thing, sort of different culture which we have managed to keep up. Marathi is the language that we speak with each other at home. So even though we are in Gujarat, we are a little mini Maratha family in our home, whereas when we are out, we speak other languages like Gujarati or Hindi or whatever is required. I learned to speak Gujarati only after getting married, but Marathi also, because in the family, in the home, everybody speaks in Marathi. So these were things different. But I think I think our family was enriched because we were like a Maratha family growing up in Gujarat. So Baroda had a different culture of a combination of Gujarati and Marathi. And that has enriched Baroda as a secular and a very cosmopolitan city, and brought out the cultural aspect of the city, because both these cultures sort of got in. Well, in today, in both, it was a combination of both which the citizens of Baroda have. So you have a lot of Gujaratis who totally understand Marathi language, and Maharashtrians, of course, speak all Gujarati because they're living here. There is no question about that. But it was this place was enriched with the combination of Gujarati and Marathi culture. I can say that.
Have you ever considered fusion of different handlooms in your creations?
No, because I wanted to keep the classic look of the Chanderi. And also I felt the Chanderi was made so beautifully some years ago, many years ago. And fortunately, I have all the old saris to like a data bank for me, actually. And I was feeling sorry that the weavers in Chanderi today don't have that opportunity to see that good work, and so they cannot make it. But once we showed it to them, they were so happy. In fact, the weavers, I remember telling me that जब आपकी साड़ी बनाते हैं तो हमको, I mean, they are paid better, but not only that, but we get a wonderful satisfaction out of doing something beautiful, because otherwise they're doing the same stuff again and again, which is done commercially. But these were few saris which they had to do because of better design, better borders. So there was a great satisfaction among the weavers also for making something much more artistic and beautiful.
And going back to the roots, so one must understand we are not designers, we are revivalists. So the idea is to revive it to its true sense, the way it was. I was very clear that we must do it the way it was always worn. So we are not doing any garments, we are doing the saris the way that they are, and in their traditional style. Of course, playing around with color a bit and combinations to just make it more, appealing by today's standard, but sticking very much to the tradition, because those are lost techniques now. How much time goes in research and development of a motif? I can't tell you now, Darshan, because itna bada order to banta hi nahi unse, the gold starts warping.
Yes.
So even though they were being made 80 years ago, 100 years ago, 60 years ago, they are unable to, they look at it and say, I don't know how this was made. They are unable to fathom it.
अभी भी जब भी कभी कभी तो बड़ी borders बनाते हैं, they add borders, they make it separately and then they stitch it.
Yes.
It's not even in
They're not.
Petra. It's becoming very rare, these techniques. And I think the fact that you're such a purist, Rajmata ji and Radhika ji, that is what is the most important thing in a person who's a revivalist, is not to mess around. It's very easy to mess around. So it's very difficult to be a purist.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. And Surekha, I don't think that we should take more time.
Take it more, right.
So this evening has really enriched our knowledge and information on the life and times, on the talent and the responsibilities, the collections and the passion, the interest, the heritage, the legacy, and much more of the royal family of Baroda. Thank you very much for answering each and every question with such honesty and with such purity, if I may say so. It was my pleasure and privilege to thread together this evening's conversation. On behalf of the ALKA JALAN Foundation, I'd like to extend my gratitude to Her Highness Rajmata Shubhangini ji Raje Gaekwad and Her Highness Maharani Radhika Raje Gaekwad, Ms. Jayasri Burman, Mrs. ALKA JALAN of the ALKA JALAN Foundation, Meenal Singh Deo, who helped us to connect with Radhika ji, Sangeet Kala Kendra and Archana Club from Mumbai, for their participation, Vidushi Keria for all the creative work, and to the wonderful audience. We've had from 350 people almost plus who have attended this. So thank you very much. All of this is not possible without an audience and an organizer. So thank you very much.
So much.
A very
Thank you so much too. And I thank the ALKA JALAN Foundation for having us.
Thank you, Ji. Bahut pranam, and thank you so much. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much all, and special thank you to Surekha ji, who made sure that we were part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay well.
Thank you.
To